Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to introduce Dr. Vishal Vyas, working as a faculty at ABU area of interest in finance. So I would like to invite Dr. Vishal Vyas sir for taking up the next session.
Thank you. Okay, can I have your attention, please?
Yes, sir.
So I will be taking up this business plan presentation. Any idea what exactly the business plan presentation is all about? Anybody else?
It's a roadmap to provide how we proceed for the business.
Okay,
That's why it includes the finance, HR, marketing, operations, each and every part.
right. Apart from that,
Business plan is
let me make it a little more clear. For an existing business and a business which is evolving, how this plan is differing. For example, if you are coming out with a novice idea and you are coming out with a new business idea and then formalizing that, this is one. And second is you already have some existing business and then you are doing planning. So how these two are different?
In that case, we prepare the budgets.
We prepare the budgets, very right. So business planning and business plan, these go hand in hand. And whenever we are taking up a new business, so I would be taking my concerns on a new business proposition. Okay, be it concerning with manufacturing, be it concerning with service or else, right? So first thing first, business opportunity identification. Business opportunity identification per se means what? It means whenever somebody is going out for strucking an idea, and the idea is, say, I'll go for a setting up of a wax factory. I'll go out for, say, a chemical factory. I'll go out for Facebook. I'll go out for Twitter. I'll go out for a nuclear power plant. So whatever I have mentioned, it has a huge variety, right? Just by saying I'll have an idea of establishing a bread manufacturing plant or a biscuit manufacturing plant, it won't suffice the purpose. It should have some background. So entrepreneur should have, or the promoter should have some background. What is that background? Anybody else? What exactly is the background? How that is suitable to a product? For example, if I must say, I go for a chemical company or I go for a chemical factory, I go for wax, whatever, I go for a restaurant. It means before strucking this particular thing into an establishment, I should have a background. Say, for example, I did my chemical engineering. I have graduated in business. I have done my master's in business. I have some economic background. I have been into some sectoral business that lasts for, say, an experience of 20 years or 30 years. I have been into sugar industry for, from, say, past 20 years or 30 years. That suits me. That is suiting. And if that suits to me, I have an experience in that particular industry and I may go for it. But if somebody would be asking me, if you don't have any experiential learning for any sector, and if you all of a sudden jump accidentally into that, accidental idea strucking are there, that is possible. But the chances of getting it viable, feasible, and successful is rare. So the probability of success rises if the background of a promoter supports that particular product. It means you need to live. If you say, I'll go for some petrochemical industry, आपने बोला पेट्रोकेमिकल इंडस्ट्री के बारे में और आपका पेट्रोकेमिकल इंडस्ट्री का कोई एक्सपीरियंस ही नहीं है, ना आपकी ग्रेजुएशन है, ना आपका एजुकेशन है, कुछ भी नहीं. There is a dearth of knowledge available, and you are not matching with that. If that frequency is not matching, entrepreneur and the product, there is a likelihood to go into win. Success comes down. So it means what? Background of the promoter is a must. Apart from that, a background of a promoter could be instilled based on family businesses. If my father is into certain business, altogether I'm not interested into that business, but somehow unconsciously, consciously, I'm gaining an experience into that business. And that's why after a certain period of time, I'll be into that business. And I'm a part and parcel of that business. So that gives the background. Other than that, as I told, education is one. Working for a huge number of years. Why I'm putting this tag of huge number of years rather than large number of years? The reason being you need to live for that. Experience is required to be earned, and that to be genuine. And therefore, this background of the promoter is a must for identification of an opportunity. So whenever you say my business opportunity is this and I'm made for it, it means you are living that. That is in your blood. Okay. Next is, after getting into this promotion for ideation of certain business opportunity, next comes the industry. So for that industry, what exactly entrepreneurs usually are doing? Usually they are going out for SWOT. I won't take that. You all are aware about that. SWOT, weakness, opportunity, threat. They are also going out for pestle analysis, whereby you are also including the economic, political, social, all those sort of things. Apart from that, once you are done with the industry, you are coming forth for the industry strength, and that is possible with the help of Porter's 5 force model. So I recommend this industry analysis per se, followed to the opportunity identification with this Porter's 5 forces model. That is a must. So what exactly Porter's 5 force model will talk about? There are 5 forces. Those are readily available in any academic book. Bargaining power of buyer, seller, what is the quotient of rivalry, and blah blah blah. What is the rate of substitution? What is the concentration ratio? But I highly recommend we should look forward to that generic models which the Porter has subscribed to with reference to our product. With reference to our product. It means what? I need to look forward for the competitiveness of that particular product vis-a-vis the area where I'm working. जैसे मैंने बोला, I go for a bread. It's a simple product, bread manufacturing. It comes under what? It comes under confectionery, okay, or bakery. If I go for a wider one, then confectionery. If I go for a subset of that, that's a bakery. So will it be possible for me to work across the India? Will I be able to serve the requirements or a demand which is available throughout the India? This is a question. Will I be able to serve my product for a state? Will I be able to serve my product for a district? So here comes the acumen. That acumen basically gives us the idea. So Porter's 5 force model go hand in hand with the SWOT analysis, with the pastel analysis, and those generic models which are being given by Porter, whereby you will find that whether I should go for a cost leadership, it means I have some technology and based on that technology, I would be able to curtail my marginal cost. So what is marginal cost? Marginal cost is a cost which is per unit constant, and it is increasing with increase in production. For example, if somebody is going out for buying a boiler, okay, and some capital intensive expenses he is doing. So those capital intensive expenses carry no worth until and unless you are working hard for your operational expenses. For example, what is the cost of manufacturing a single one packet of a bread? What is the cost? Say if that cost is 20 rupees. Okay, I'm supposing if that is 20 rupees, and if my competitors could able to come at a level of 15 rupees, so they will have a competitive advantage, and I'll be somehow struggle for a good market share because they could able to reduce their selling prices oftenly if need be arises. And once that sort of strategic decision is being taken, that strategic decision is required to be lasted for a longer period of time. And therefore, whatever you are taking as a strategy, that should come forth with some vision. So after this industry analysis, some articulation of ideas are there, which are basically striking. For that, let me take some example. You all are experienced, and some are going to have an experience in the industry. So, can I raise one question relating with the say cement? Okay. So you might have observed there are huge capacity-based cement plants available in India, right? And some mini cement plants are also available. What is the success rate of these mini cement plants? Have you ever seen any mini cement plants nearby?
Yes.
Yes. Kindly share that. How many mini cement plants you have seen vis-a-vis the large and huge capacity-based cement plants?
Almost many plants are failed.
Failed. This is the right answer. So why mini cement plants are failing? Why mini cement plants are failing? The answer lies in itself. I am enthusiastic. I may have mini cement plant based on my capital, but that would be a fiasco. He has conveyed the failure. Let me put a superlative to that. That is a fiasco. Reason is what? Reason is you will not get any economies of scale. If you will not get any economies of scale, is there any concern for having a mini cement plant and putting your money into that? You'll not get the desired ROIs. You'll not have the economies of scale. Economies of scale means you'll not have any scope for reduction of your marginal cost in comparison to whatever incurred huge capital intensive costs. Means you have incurred huge fixed costs for the same, whereas you will get nothing. And therefore you will struggle until and unless you have some unethical practices. If you have unethical practices into your account, you may survive, but that is not feasible, and that's not even allowable as per the regulations. So let me take one more example. Glucose biscuit. Parle-G, you might have heard.
Yes.
How many glucose biscuits at a small level or with a small capacity plants you have seen? Not available.
No.
Not available. Even a tiger glucose biscuit that have evolved, but sooner or later that was absorbed. What is the reason? The same reason. Economies of scale is lacking, and because of that lack of economies of scale, many cement plants cannot be in a position to reach to those higher capacity utilizations. And if the higher capacity utilization couldn't be achieved, it's a failure. It's a failure. Okay. Let me take one more thing. Nuclear power plant. I have an ambition to have a nuclear power plant. I'm graduated from say Carnegie Mellon, and I have a lot of experience in nuclear sciences. Will that be possible for me to have this? Is it
Government will not
possible?
allow.
Exactly. The regulation will feature into here. So if the regulation will come into, and if regulation will stop you doing that, is there any feasibility working for the same again and again and trying to fetch the information for the same business idea? It's of no use. It means something which are hovering around whatever I took up is with the three things. First is the cost reduction. Second thing, vis-a-vis go is economies of scale. Next is the productivity improvisations. Productivity improvisation means if you are working at say 50% capacity utilization, all of a sudden you cannot jump on to 70% or 80%. It's a gradual process, and with this gradual process only you could be able to achieve, whereby you will take a striking balance for whether how much you should incur your fixed cost. Let me make it clear about two things. One is the fixed cost. I'm using these words time and again. First is the fixed cost, and second is the variable or marginal cost. So fixed cost is a kind of cost which is fixed, but this is a little bit awkward if I define this fixed cost like this. Fixed cost is a cost which is fixed across the board. It means you have incurred some capital expenses of say buying a land. You are going out for education institution. आपने सोचा कि आप एक education institution खोलेंगे और आपने क्या किया, आपने 250 एकड़ लैंड 500 एकड़ लैंड ऐसे ही परचेस कर लिया. So will that be feasible? If your project is worth being evolved on a land of say 100 acres, and if you are buying 500 acres, what exactly is this? You are not into business of academics or education. You have some different provocations, right? For the capital appreciation in terms of real estate and blah blah blah. Or say for example, if you are working for a capacity of say 30%, and you are buying a plant worth 200% capacity, so this will turn out to be a sunk cost or a huge fixed cost. So fixed cost is a cost which is there only to recover. We are required to recover only the fixed cost, whereas variable cost is cost which is depending upon the kind of production we have. For example, a marker, okay, whiteboard marker. So if I'm going for a whiteboard marker is 1. If I produce 2, and if the variable cost of one marker is 20 rupees, for 2 it will be 40, for 3 it will be 60, and so on. So with the rise in production, it will rise per unit. But for producing these markers, I have incurred a fixed cost of certain machineries. Those machineries may be of 10 lakhs, second machinery may be of worth rupees 20 lakhs. So these are coming under the category of fixed cost. Okay. So as I conveyed, there should be a striking balance. An entrepreneur is required to come out with a striking balance for fixed cost and variable cost. If he could able to understand, in case if I go for a technology adoption, my fixed cost will increase, but will it reduce my variable cost per unit? जैसे आपने अगर ब्रेड बनाने के लिए कोई बहुत ही शानदार टेक्नोलॉजी अडॉप्ट कर ली, ओके, तो वो मशीनरी आप यूएस से मंगवा रहे हैं और दैट इज वर्थ लैक्स, सम गुड अमाउंट ऑफ लैक्स, लेकिन उसकी वजह से आपका पर यूनिट ब्रेड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग रिड्यूस हो रहा है. तो ये आपका डिसीजन होगा कि आपको अभी पर यूनिट ब्रेड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग में जो रिडक्शन इन कॉस्ट हो रहा है वो चाहिए, या शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए आपका जैसा चल रहा है वैसे चलने दीजिए, जहां पर आपने फिक्स कॉस्ट को ज्यादा नहीं किया. ओके, तो इट इज एंटायरली द प्रीरोगेटिवनेस डिस्क्रिशन ऑफ द एंटरप्रेन्योर. अब वो एंटरप्रेन्योर विन विन सिचुएशन में कब पहुंचता है? The entrepreneur will reach to a win-win situation when he will have a scan of the market and industry. अगर मुझे, if I have an idea of the market and if I have a thorough idea about the market, I'll be at a win-win situation because I know आने वाले टाइम में क्या होना है, इसका डिमांड बहुत ज्यादा राइज होना है, and if the demand will rise, I need to procure some good amount of capital intensive expenses. At the same time, I should reduce my variable cost. Third thing is the expansion in the promising fields that we will cover with the market. Now, business propositions, how one could able to, those who are not aware, how one could able to scout for these business propositions. What are the ways? Sources क्या हैं उनके? What are the sources with which you can scout these? Number one is analyze the performance of existing industry. You should do nothing. You kindly visit places where the industries are, or a hub of industries are there, and then you kindly analyze their performance. For example, आप बहुत ही छोटा pharmaceutical plant खोलना चाहते हैं. Analyze the performance of existing pharmaceutical plants which are working not at a huge capacity but at a mediocre capacity. आप किसी रिटेल फर्म में जाना चाहते हैं, मतलब आप जस्ट लाइक रिलायंस रिटेल और डी मार्ट, आप छोटा सा रिटेल स्टोर खोलना चाहते हैं, then you may look forward to that based on the earlier existing establishments. So earlier existing establishment will help you understand their performance. What are the difficulties they are facing? In case if they are facing the difficulties, will you be able to resolve that? Let me take one more example. Hindustan Lever Limited, naam suna aapne? Anybody else who could quote just one single word for their success? What is the success behind HLL? Is it the product range? Answer is no. What exactly is there? Do they have more retailers, wholesalers? They have a good distribution network. Only one single factor. HLL is having their success priority based on only one single thing, and that is distribution network. Is there anybody else, other any entrepreneur who could able to develop such a large network? Answer is no. And that's the reason you'll find Lux International even in the rural most areas, whereas you'll not find the products of other companies. So their success factor lies in distribution network, and they are putting more of their cost for their expansionary phases in the distribution. So it is entirely the prerogativeness or discretion of that enterprise. Afterwards, examine the input and output of various industries. It means, do I have to buy products from a local market, from a different country? I need to import the raw material from Japan or from the neighboring countries. If I will import, what is the status? One more example. Matchbox. You heard about Matchbox? Why Matchbox Industries or Matchbox making is not available in the nearby areas? Why? यहाँ पर क्यों नहीं है available वो?
Raw material.
Exactly. This is the problem. Raw material is not available. And somebody may claim कि हम raw material यहाँ मंगवा लेते हैं. That would be very costly. That would be very costly. So feasibility नहीं है ना. So feasibility is not there. That is what examination of input and output of various industries. Let us have a dairy farm. Okay? Let's have a dairy farm. I'm not going into technicalities that you need to have a veterinary doctor, you need to look forward for all the buffaloes, all the cow, or other farm animals. I'm simply talking about just one thing. Where is the market where you will saturate your finished goods, be it a milk? So if 48 hours is the shelf life of this perishable good, तो क्या होगा? 48 hours के बाद में इसको आपको exhaust करना पड़ेगा ना? You need to exhaust it for any prices. So what is required? The requirement is just one thing. market for selling. If your market is far from your place, and if the product is coming under the category of perishability, having a shelf life which is lesser, what you need to do? The plant should be at a location whereby the final produce should be required to be sold in a market which is having the proximity. So one is the proximity with the raw material and second is proximity with the markets. तो यहाँ पर milk के case में proximity with the market is a must. Whereas in the first case which I mentioned, proximity with the raw material is a must. Next is review of import and export. This will give you a trend analysis for which product is required to be opted. Plan outlays and government guidelines. You heard about बद्दी? आपने नाम सुना है बद्दी? हिमाचल प्रदेश, बहुत सही, बिल्कुल सही. तो हिमाचल प्रदेश में जो बद्दी एरिया है, वहाँ पर क्या विशेषता है? What exactly is the feature?
क्लाइमेट की वजह से फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनीज वहाँ पे ज्यादा है.
Pharma hub is there, बिल्कुल. Pharma hub is available. Apart from that, tax holidays are available. Government, just to promote that particular area, promote the employment there, what government is doing? Government is inviting the industries to come and having their establishment, right? So you have studied that, somehow you encounter that, and if that suits to you, match with your background, go ahead. So here, what you are doing is, you are somehow looking forward for the plan outlays. Plan outlays का मतलब है the government's 5-year plans. पंचवर्षीय योजना नाम सुना होगा आपने. So in those 5-year plans, how entrepreneurs could take out the risk. What they usually do is they look forward for which sectors are given the priorities. ठीक है? Which sectors are given the priorities. तो मैं अगर बोलूं मिथेनॉल पर प्रायोरिटी है, इथेनॉल पर प्रायोरिटी है, गैसोलीन पर प्रायोरिटी है, मैंने ऐसा कहा, मैंने पढ़ा उसमें. So I may look forward for those sort of setups. Pharmaceutical industry में tax holidays है. Tax holiday में you need not to pay your electricity bill, you need not to pay your water bill, you'll be exempted from the stamp duty for your land you will purchase, that to leasehold land which you are purchasing for 99 years or so. So these are the critical guidelines and we need to look forward for these guidelines. They will help us in scouting those ideas. ऐसे ही मुझे आइडिया आएगा कि मुझे इस बिजनेस में जाना चाहिए. Next is suggestions of financial institution and development agencies. The most important one. These are not insider information. These are the information which are primarily available with the bulletin which these financial institutions are regularly publishing. What exactly these institutions are talking about? They will take you to a journey whereby you yourself could able to devise a mechanism of generating a trend कि अभी sugar firms को बहुत ज़्यादा ये लोग loans दे रहे हैं. It means the debt available or the financial leverage which is available for these sugar firms is more. At the same time, government is also promoting sugar factories. This is a buzz, and here I could take this into my cognizance and I may move forward. Secondly, apart from this financial institutions government की development arena को बहुत ज़्यादा ध्यान में रखते हैं. It means what? वो government की जो priorities है, उन priorities को देखते हुए जो loans sanction होते हैं, loans could be in a bracket. I'm not saying कि loans are up to 50 lakhs or up to 100 lakhs. I'm not talking that way. It entirely depends upon the business idea and the capacity for which the entrepreneur is willing to work. But what I'm saying is they usually bracket the targets for particular sectors. So we may look forward for those sectors and for the coming times, how long that will last. For example, for the next 10 years, these are wonderful for sugar firms. Let me go ahead with the sugar firms. Next is investigating the local material and resources. That's the point. I have a dream of coming out with a restaurant, right? And I need to be a leader in restaurant business. Later to that, I will go out for a chain of restaurants in the country. And that's a dream bana liya. So that is a dream which is on paper or which is just I have cognized. लेकिन it has lot of difficulties. आप बता सकते हैं कि सबसे important aspect क्या है when you are talking about restaurant business?
Raw material as well as the chef.
Only chef. Raw materials are available from the local markets. Raw materials could be fetched from a local market. But from where you would fetch those skilled labor? Skilled labor is chef. So chef would be playing a very important role there. And if you couldn't able to attract those wonderful skilled labor or skilled employees, it's of no use because you cannot indulge yourself as a chef. You could, but that wouldn't fetch the feasibility of the product. Analyzing the economic and social trends. It is entirely depending upon the current fashion fads and trends. And these ideas usually put forth based on eating habits, based on apparels, based on electronics, based on inclusion of AI. I could mention that here. How come? Pizza is in fashion. Okay. Have you heard pizza? 10 साल पहले? Was it in fashion? No. But nowadays, chow mein and pizza, these are in fashion. So if your restaurant, if you're going out for a restaurant, and if your restaurant is not having this, and your restaurant is, until and unless they are specialized in dal bati, okay, they are specialized in dal bati, and if they are going out without this pizza and chow mein or these Chinese food and Italian food, the success rate will fall because all youngsters, youth, they prefer to have this disposable thing, and their disposable income across the board is somehow being filled based on that gap, and therefore analysis of that economic and social trend is a must. Nowadays in the automobile, you might have encountered the kind of vehicle, and if you compare those vehicle vis-a-vis the earlier vehicle, Yazdi, you might not have heard about this. You heard about this? Yazdi?
Yes, the Bullet Rajdut.
Yes, Yazdi, Bullet and Rajdut. Now they have come out with their newer fashionable look. The last is reviving the sick unit. One of my friend is working in this, and it's a wonderful idea, this reviving the sick unit. What exactly this? BIFR, Board of Industrial Financial Restructuring, BIFR. It's a board. The board क्या करता है? This board is giving a tag to a industry, be it a MSME, be it a SME, or be it a public limited company. Okay. So what exactly this board is doing? If somebody would like to be bankrupted, बहुत सी कंपनीज हैं जो ऐसा चाहती हैं कि वो bankrupt हो जाए.
Reliance Communication.
Reliance Communication is one of the example. Okay. Lekin Reliance is also indulging into some other regulatory aspects, so I'm not mentioning that.
Exactly, but that is being done after getting the tag of the BIFR.
I understood that, but they earlier indulged into some stock market, unethical practices. So I'm not mentioning the name. Okay. I could quote even the incidents, what exactly they have done by using the call options. So sick units are the units which are being declared as sick by BIFR. Once they are being declared as a sick, entrepreneurs could jump onto that at some discounted prices, and if they have potential, they could revive those sick units as per their own customized ways, customized propositions, and then flourish. Okay. Next is what exactly we need to do for the proposition. After scouting the idea from any of the places, we will go for preliminary screening. What exactly these preliminary screening talk about? Compatibility with the promoter. That is the first thing. If I'm made for horses, I need to have a horse clinic. If I'm made for retail, I should go for a retail. But if I don't have any interest in a particular business, and if I enthuse to just because I want, I'm doing that, it would be turning into a fiasco. Because in the absence of a knowledge for that particular domain, it's of no use. Consistency with the government priorities. One should have consistency with the government plans, promotions, 5-year plans, financial institutions, other things. Availability of input. Inputs are thoroughly available in the market and there will be no problem in the forthcoming future. Markets are adequate. It means there is a huge market available in terms of potential demand. We'll talk about this while talking about the demand. Next is reasonableness of the cost. It means in the forthcoming times, this mineral water which is available to us, it will not shoot up in terms of cost like anything. So there would be a reasonable price for the cost of this mineral water plant. Acceptability of risk level. So here the entrepreneur's risk metrics will feature into account, and risk level per se is differing from person to person. I have nothing to lose, and therefore let me go into this. If that is a sign, if that is a suggestion, then it's of no use. Acceptability of a risk level. It means what? A digestion and tolerance for the risk. And there is a huge difference between two things. One is the risk, and second is uncertainty. Can you quote what exactly is the difference between risk and uncertainty?
Uncertainty is
Risk you know,
unexpected,
uncertainty
sir.
you don't.
Identified and it may be solvable.
It is solvable. Very rightly, you all have conveyed. Risk is something which is measurable. Very rightly quoted. We can measure, and based on that risk matrix, I could assess myself, my tolerance. Uncertainty is the one which is alongside. It is not measurable, but it is all of a sudden it will feature. Example: regulation, COVID-19. Okay, government regulations. If government regulation for import and export changes, if some policy changes, economic policy change, all that will come under the category of uncertainty. For example, your businesses are somehow attached with the monetary and credit policy, and all of a sudden government has changed the repo rate. So you will be prone to this, and that sensitivity will bring forth the aspect of bracketing your business profits. So here, acceptability of a environment. So this environment, in the SWOT analysis, you might have seen the strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. But here, for a more preciseness and briefing, let me take environment as a particular, and let me segregate this SWOT into two components. And these two components are, one is strategic advantage profile, and second is known as ETOP, that is external threat and opportunity profile. So first is strategic advantage profile. What is SAP? SAP is completely relating with the internal capability of a firm. So what are the internal capability of a firm? Those are relating with SAP, strategic advantage profile. Whereas ETOP, that is environment and opportunity and threats, we usually discuss that in the environment. And that is what I said. Environment is not certain. It's not certain. So we need to have a full scan of the environment based on Porter's 5 force model. That is very useful. Kindly go through that. Or pastel analysis, where we'll see the political, economic, social, and technological environment as well as their thorough analysis. What are the available literature for that? How could we do the scanning? Plan reports, these are available and published timely by the Government of India and state governments. Fiscal budget, monetary policy and credit policy, economic surveys which are available. Next is annual publications by Ministry of Industrial Development, that is available, whereby you could see what is the environment. Monthly bulletins of RBI, Reserve Bank of India, monthly publications of CSO, that is relating with population, Central Statistical Organization on production units, etc. IDBI publication for industry potentials, annual survey reports for the industries by CSO. So these are the literatures, okay? And needless to say, these literatures once you scan, then you would be able to have an understanding for the environmental scanning for your particular product or even the service. Now, let us move to common information area. What we need to do. So, first of all, let me put the bullet points, whatever we have seen so far. First thing we have seen about business opportunity identification. What we have seen? BOI. Once the entrepreneur matches his interest with the product or service, and once he is scanning the product vis-a-vis the market, environment, and other related things, that is BOI. Once BOI is done, next comes the industry analysis. In the industry analysis, pastel, SWOT, ETOP, SAP, and all these things will feature into. Once we are done with that, and once we are done with the secondary information which are available with the different agencies, if that is available with us, we may go through that. Then comes the most important aspect, and that is known as market. Before going into market, this particular thing, demand. What is your understanding about demand? What is demand?
Quantity asked by the customers for a particular product for a particular time period for a particular price.
Increasing in the value.
Okay. Yes?
Increasing in the value of the product.
Okay.
Satisfied the customers and users.
Satisfaction of the user and customers. Okay.
Is it demand?
News.
Okay. In Delhi, let me take an example. In Delhi, the CNG is available, right?
Yes.
So how much CNG is available?
Number of CNG vehicles.
Number of CNG vehicles available. That will decide the demand. Right? Little bit differing I am with you. That is actually supply. That is actually supply. If number of bread packets which are available at a retail store and people are using those, so that is a supply. That is not a demand. Demand is the potential with which, for example, if some new or a novice entrepreneur again enter into either CNG business or in bread business, so where he will or she will exhaust their product, if that is a demand. Are you getting my point? अगर वही उसका डिमांड है तो फिर तो किसी भी एंट्री बैरियर हो गया ना ये. That is एंट्री बैरियर. कोई भी नया बंदा ब्रेड भी नहीं बना सकता है और सीएनजी भी नहीं बना सकता है अगर वही उसका डिमांड है तो डिमांड इज नॉट दैट. डिमांड इज एक्चुअली द पोटेंशियल कि और कितने लोग ये ब्रेड खा सकते हैं और कितने लोग सीएनजी के व्हीकल को खरीद सकते हैं. आने वाले टाइम में कितने सीएनजी के व्हीकल और बढ़ जाएंगे. दैट इज अ डिमांड. एग्जिस्टिंग सीएनजी के जो भी व्हीकल हैं वो कितना सीएनजी कंज्यूम करते हैं और कितने वेंडर्स वो सीएनजी अवेल करवा रहे हैं. दैट इज नोन एज सप्लाई. एंड अ गुड एंटरप्रेन्योर इज वन who is working for any business plan is the one who actually have a distinction for a gap of the supply and demand. Once you could able to have a catch hold of demand and supply gap, you are done. Jaise in the last session you might have seen, and even in the earlier sessions as well, you have seen about innovation. तो मुझे बताइए कि एक गेहूं बेचने वाला क्या इनोवेशन करेगा. बता सकते हैं आप? एक ब्रेड बेचने वाला क्या इनोवेशन करेगा. व्हाट इज द इनोवेशन. मुझे तो नया प्रोडक्ट लेके आना है ना.
आजकल तो
यू आर इनटू सीएनजी, राइट. सो आप सीएनजी में क्या इनोवेशन करेंगे. व्हाट इज द इनोवेशन विद व्हिच यू कुड इंक्रीज योर मार्केट शेयर. वो क्या इनोवेशन हो सकता है. आप मेरी बात तक पहुंच रहे हैं. मैं क्या बोलना चाहता हूँ.
पहले पेट्रोल में भी डिफरेंट वैरायटी नहीं थी, अब है. ऐसे ब्रेड में भी मिनरल वेस्ट डाल देंगे तो पब्लिक
ब्रेड
जाएगी. मिनरल वेस्ट डाल देंगे या कुछ और डाल देंगे जो पब्लिक को अट्रैक्ट करेगा, अपील करेगा तो वो करेगा.
व्हीट ब्रेड, ज्वार ब्रेड, मिलेट्स ब्रेड,
एग्जैक्टली
इस तरह से हमका एक्सटेंशन है.
एग्जैक्टली.
Sir, I think the best innovation is when we take bread, we only use 3 breads, but they are unsealed, so we can make the sealed packaging. A
See,
sealed
so
tape.
many ideas
This
are-
is also an
I'm
innovation.
getting your point. Very right. We can come out with a product mix. That is what he conveyed. Jwar bread. We can come out with a chocolate bread. We can come out with millet bread. These are the product mix. We can come out with a variety of product mix. At the same time, we need to test these success of these product mix. Jwar bread का success कितना है भाई? What is the success rate of jwar bread? Because in the bread business, the packaging, labeling, these are the costs. लगता है कि नहीं लगता है इसका cost? Then the distribution, advertisement, pilferage, so many things are there. So we need to have a caution before introducing whatever innovation we are going on. You have rightly quoted about the type of petrols are available, gasoline, I mean, right? Very right. उसमें इतना percentage है, इसमें इतना percentage है, fuel की efficiency, so many things have come out. But those which are gross products, जैसे मैंने बोला गेहूं, cereals, इसमें क्या innovation हो सकता है. तो innovation lies in its packaging, innovation lies in its disposability, I mean, how they are reaching to customers. So many things are there. It entirely depending upon the entrepreneur. Secondary data, which I have already mentioned, from where you could fetch the information. Primary data. Here comes the important aspect. So market research is primarily focusing on collection of this the entrepreneur himself, either by outsourcing this or जैसे आपने किसी गैलप या मैकेंजी को बोल दिया कि हमारे लिए सर्वे करके इस प्रोडक्ट की फिजिबिलिटी का पता लगाइए. This is one aspect. Other aspect is you are not relying on anybody. You go by yourself by doing all and every aspect of finding the primary data. How could that be possible? For example, coolers. Cooler होता है? Summer coolers. तो summer coolers, winter coolers भी होता है. तो summer coolers की बात करते हैं. तो summer coolers क्या है? If you're not aware about the product, you simply stepped up on a showroom and then you asked for what is the price of this cooler, what are the features of the cooler, what is the motor, the most important aspect is motor. So you are asking for a specification of motor, right? You keep on asking, and then gradually you are graduating in terms of knowledge for coolers. Getting my point?
Yes.
When you will step up in the second showroom, you are already having the precursor knowledge which you have gained from the first showroom. And if in case you visit 10 showrooms, you would be able to have a finalized version of the specification which actually you need as per your room requirements. Am I right?
Yes.
So customers are educating themselves by visiting. Entrepreneurs couldn't do that. So entrepreneurs are just not looking forward for these specifications. Rather, he is collecting the information which are there in the background. And what are those background information? Can you quote? वो background information क्या हो सकती है? As an entrepreneur सोच के देखिए. कस्टमर की तरह मैंने बताया कि आपको कूलर खरीदना है, इसलिए आपने सारे स्पेसिफिकेशन पता किए. इसका ड्यूरेशन, इसकी वारंटी, इसकी गारंटी जो भी इन्वॉल्व है. लेकिन if you are into cooler manufacturing business, तो आप सिचुएशन एनालिसिस नहीं करेंगे. You will collect the information which are prima facie very important for manufacturing. क्या क्या हो सकती है वो? Name a few please.
What is the cheapest material? Looking for the good resources.
सबसे पहली इंफॉर्मेशन ये होगी.
Market research basically.
नहीं, मार्केट
उसकी
रिसर्च क्या
डिमांड क्या है, मतलब कस्टमर क्या चाहता है,
सबसे पहली चीज क्या है?
नंबर ऑफ किस तरह की क्वालिटी
नहीं भाई,
What customer want?
what customer want, that is fine, that is the primary information, very right. लेकिन in the presence of durability is one, in the presence of other cooler makers और भी है ना,
What unique you are providing?
So like
what
services.
unique you are providing, that is one USP जिसको बोला. और क्या हो
So
सकता है?
reliability,
Air
Reliability in
purified.
terms of
Air purified.
total longevity of the product.
okay, very right. और कुछ? Any suggestions?
Humidity control.
Design, क्या design you are making?
Design, decor, और
Electricity consumption.
pardon?
Electricity consumption.
Electricity consumption.
Energy consumption.
हाँ, energy consumption, electricity consumption, that is one.
And the cost leadership.
Windings.
लेकिन ये सारी इंफॉर्मेशन जो बताई गई है वो तो कस्टमर्स भी पूछेगा ना. तो हाउ वी आर डिफरेंशिएटिंग आवरसेल्व्स एज एन एंटरप्रेन्योर इन कलेक्टिंग दीज इंफॉर्मेशन. आप सोच के देखिए एक बार. आई एम लीविंग दिस थिंग टू यू. Whatever information you have conveyed to me, are these not the information which a customer is also asking or customer is also taking into cognizance? So as an entrepreneur, what sort of information we are requiring?
पहला मुझे चाहिए डिमांड, कि उसका डिमांड है या नहीं है, अभी बनाने में फायदा है, वरना फायदा क्या है, गैप अगर कोई है तो.
वो यहाँ मेंशन्ड है सबकी सब. देखिए आप,
हाँ,
प्री एग्जिस्टिंग जितने भी कूलर्स हैं, उन कूलर्स में what modalities are there, and if I am coming out with a cooler which is exactly replicating the others, कोई मतलब ही नहीं है. It means I need to have something which others are not giving. Am I right? So demand analysis will fetch me all those information which are required to establish a cooler factory. Next is demand estimation. Demand estimation could be done by putting up a little bit of a mathematics, by trend analysis or by Delphi technique. Variety of techniques are available with which you can estimate the coefficient of this demand. और मैंने आपको बताया कि डिमांड और सप्लाई इन दोनों का डिफरेंस हमको पता होना चाहिए. क्लियर? अब अगर मुझे ग्लूकोज बिस्किट का डिमांड पता करना है और मेरे एरिया में पता करना है, तो मैं रफली पता कर सकता हूँ ना. कैसे पता करूंगा? एकदम ग्रॉस लेवल पर। मैंने आपसे कोई मैथमेटिक्स नहीं पूछा, मैंने कहा कि सप्लाई मुझे पता करना है और मुझे ये पता करना है कि इफ आई नीड टू हैव अ फिगर ऑफ सप्लाई, व्हाट इज द फिगर ऑफ अ सप्लाई, अप्रॉक्सीमेट फिगर ऑफ अ सप्लाई फॉर अ बिस्किट, सिंपल प्रोडक्ट बिस्किट। कैसे पता करेंगे?
मेजर ब्रांड के डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर से
हम उनको कांटेक्ट कर सकते हैं, बिल्कुल सही, लेकिन उन ब्रांड्स को जिनको हम डील करने वाले हैं, मतलब जिनसे पूछने वाले हैं, उनसे पता कर सकते हैं, बिल्कुल ठीक बात है। और इसके अलावा इनसे भी ऊपर सीएनएफ एजेंट होता है एक स्टेट का, सिर्फ एक ही, उससे पता चल जाएगा, है ना, वहां से पता चल जाएगा। लेकिन वो मुझे अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड मार्केट के उन बेसिस के बारे में नहीं बता पाता, वो मुझे सिर्फ ब्रांड्स के बारे में बताता है। आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? और हो सकता है कि अनऑर्गेनाइज्ड सेक्टर में काम करने वाले वो ब्रांड्स बहुत ज्यादा लीडिंग ब्रांड्स, जो लेट्स टेक द एग्जांपल ऑफ गजक, those who are from Gwalior, I'm not from a Gwalior, but still I heard about it. Gwalior gajak or Murena gajak is that is of a repute, right? How many manufacturers are who are manufacturing this gajak? Hundreds and thousands, right? Okay. Is there any brand, Reliance or
No.
why?
In Meerut they have.
No.
यहाँ
Why
पर
Reliance,
लेकिन
Hindustan
मेरठ
Lever Limited, ACC, they are not into gajak, na? What is the reason? Kindly have some cognization. Why into gajak business Reliance is not there? Is it difficult for Reliance to enter into that business, or is it the business which has lot of entry barriers? Entry barriers है क्या इसमें? इस business में घुसना बहुत difficult है, बहुत इन्वेस्टमेंट मांगता है, नहीं मांगता। ROI बहुत कम है क्या?
नहीं,
ROI बहुत अच्छा है इसका,
100% है।
100% है। तो फिर बताइए आप क्यों नहीं एंटर हो रहे?
Maybe the
Just seasonal.
demand is the factor.
लोकल एरिया में सेल होगा सर, इट वोंट सेल, मतलब ये नेशनल प्रोडक्ट नहीं है, ये पर्टिकुलर एरिया
इंटरनेशनल प्रोडक्ट है,
They are exporting this product.
इंटरनेशनल।
करोड़ों रुपए एक्सपोर्ट होता है।
Exactly. It's a crores of a business. Turnover देखिए आप इसका।
Seasonal है सर।
तो why people are not entering into that business?
सर एक कुछ लोग तो घुसे हुए ना, चाहे वो नाथुराम हो चाहे बीकानेर वाला, वो लोग तो हैं ही। हल्दीराम हो,
हल्दीराम is not into gajak.
अभी रिसेंटली उसका गजक भी आने लगा है।
But that gajak is not compatible and that is not as competitive as Dolatrams. Am I right?
Yes.
You
The answer you yourself have
given
given.
morning laddus, yesterday चिक्की लोनावाला चिक्की is famous.
So the answer lies in your suggestions itself. What exactly is that?
Liver. You cannot find the.
No, skill level और उसका तरीका techniques है।
Let me give one more example. Let me give one more example and that will suffice the purpose. You heard about Bikaneri bhujia?
Yes.
Have you been to Bikaner?
Yes.
Those who are the residents of Bikaner, they never ever use Bikaji bhujia, Haldiram bhujia. They never used to have this. In their opinion, this is the worst bhujia, which across the India you will find a sensibility of a brand or people have that much of a craze. What my point? Bikaneri people, they usually consume bhujia being manufactured by those local bhujia manufacturers. The water content, the environment, that gives the taste of a bhujia as bhujia, which is not available in Kanpur. The Kanpur factory is there. Sorry, Nagpur. It's not in Kanpur, in Nagpur. Nagpur factory is there of Haldirams. So the taste of a bhujia being manufactured at Nagpur plant and at Bikaner plant, huge difference. They are trying to maintain a standardization, but usually people are discarding that. So they prefer the localites. So my answer lies in my words and submission itself. What exactly it is? It is few certain things are there which are suitable for suitable geographical areas only, and those are the local popular brands which are even beating the national brands. Got my point? So demand estimation is one, and how we could estimate the demand? We could estimate the demand based on, let me give an example. I have asked for a biscuit. I have asked for a biscuit, which are customarily, we can say that, having a national repute. Next to it is what? Next to it is, I may even go to wholesalers. Let us take not agent, wholesalers. Wholesalers give me an idea, different wholesalers, but still I would be lacking, and therefore I may visit the retailers. So while visiting the retailers, what things I need to check? I need to check what is the margin which this particular X brand is providing